Chapter 366 Donga, don't die. At this point, another two beams of golden light shone. Huro Yuao was eager as he turned his attention in that direction. Two people fell from the sky screaming and crashed to the ground. The two of them were hugging one another. However, they rolled on the ground after crashing, and seemed very disheveled. Huro Yuao was disappointed. These two weren't the ones he was waiting for. They were Ningtian and Wu Feng. Ningtian and Wu Feng were panting heavily, and took some time to catch their breath. When they saw everyone looking at them, they started to cheer at the same time. We're alive. We aren't dead. As they cheered, they hugged each other tightly. They seemed to be delighted to be alive. 8 out of the earlier 13 had returned. What about the remaining 5? Just as Huro Yuao was thinking that, another 3 beams of golden light shone down simultaneously. The first person to appear was Bei Bei, who seemed to be in a daze. He seemed to be trying to recall something. Huro Yuao was stunned to see that Bei Bei was looking at him with a doubtful look in his eyes. The unfamiliar feeling in his eyes made it seem like he didn't know him. The other two who appeared with Bei Bei weren't Wang Donga and Wang Qiuwa. They were Hikaetu and Xiao Xiao. They also looked very weird. Xiao Xiao was sitting on Hikaetu's right shoulder, swinging her legs. She was smiling sweetly and hugging Hikaetu's neck with her left hand. Hikaetu was also grinning ear to ear. They're all back and they're all fine. What about Donga and Qiuwa? Huro Yuao clenched his fists tightly. He was finally becoming a little anxious. Why aren't Donga and Qiuwa back? What has happened to them? No, they're fine. They won't meet with any problems. They're both so outstanding. No matter what situation they encounter, they should be able to deal with it. Huro Yuao was becoming more and more nervous. The more he cared, the less able he was to keep calm. A projection suddenly lit up, but no one returned. Instead, a strange light screen was presented in front of everyone. The light screen turned from ethereal to clear. Everyone saw an icy mountain peak in front of them. Donga, Qiuwa. Huro Yuao immediately noticed Wang Donga and Wang Qiuwa, who were both seated on this ice peak. Apart from the unconscious Doulu, the rest were also drawn to this light screen. Bei Bei was also jolted out from his dazed state right now. He quickly hurried to Huro Yuao's side. He clapped Yuao's shoulder as he squatted down. Little Junior, don't worry. They'll be fine. Huro Yuao didn't open his mouth. While he was a resilient person, how could he remain calm when Wang Donga was about to get into trouble? The more he cared, the more vexed he was. A voice came from the light screen. When Huro Yuao heard that voice and realized that only one of them could survive, he clenched his fists. If Bei Bei wasn't tightly holding onto his shoulder, he would have charged forward without any hesitation. Calm down, Yuao. You must calm down and watch what happens. There must be a reason why we are being shown this. Huro Yuao took in a deep breath. He knew that Bei Bei was right. At such a time, being impulsive wasn't going to solve any problem. Wang Donga and Wang Qiuwa's voices were both audible. Everyone wore a weird look on their faces when they heard their conversation. Although many of them knew that things were ambiguous between Wang Qiuwa and Huro Yuao, they hadn't expected her feelings for Huro Yuao to be so intense. Even Wang Donga seemed to approve of her love towards Huro Yuao. In the light projection, their conversation. Love is selfish and possessive. He died for you in his past life. The life that he has now was given to him by the yearning heartbroken grass that I plucked. He should belong to me. I love him. I really love him. Qiuwa, thank you. Thank you for letting Yuao survive. If not for you, he would have died for me. I can sense your love for him. It's very sincere. However, I have the same passion and love for him. You are right, or rather this yin-yang love querying valley is right. Of the two of us, only one can be together with him. No matter who wins or loses, I believe that we'll still treat him and love him well. Qiuwa, I only have one request. If you win, and if you can, please transform into me to continue loving him. I don't want him to mourn my death. Can you do so? My transformation is final. I can only do it once. Moreover, you are you, and I am me. You are Wang Donga, and I am Wang Qiuwa. I want him to love me. Then, if I die, don't tell him how I died. Just tell him that I went missing. In this way, he'll at least still find some repose in his heart. In the future days, you must love him and slowly transfer his love for me to you. What are you saying all this for? Are you trying to make my determination waver? Dream on. Everyone was stunned after hearing their conversation. Wang Qiuwa's looks were based on Wang Donga. Who is she, then? What final transformation? She can turn into a human. Even Elder Sun can't detect her transformation. What exactly is this? Huro Yuao noticed something different from the rest. When he heard Wang Donga said I only have one request. If you win, and if you can, please transform into me to continue loving him. I don't want him to mourn my death. Can you do so? His eyes immediately turned red. Donga, he shouted loudly. However, he couldn't influence what was going on in the projection. Bloody light scattered as Wang Qiuwa's spear stabbed into Wang Donga's arm. However, Wang Donga remained as calm as ever. Huro Yuao shut his eyes in torment. He couldn't make himself watch their fight. Wang Donga was his lover. However, what about Wang Qiuwa? Wang Qiuwa said that she was the one who gave Huro Yuao his current life. If not for her, he would have died in the ice fire yin-yang well. Was he supposed to hate Wang Qiuwa for hurting Wang Donga? He couldn't possibly do so. Right now, he only felt that he was the one in the wrong. He didn't manage his relationships with Wang Donga and Wang Qiuwa well, which led to this current tragedy. What do I do? What do I do? I can't bear for either of them to be hurt. Tremendous boom sounded, and Huro Yuao's fingernails had already pierced into his palm. Right now, he was feeling very conflicted and helpless. Look. Huro Yuao opened his eyes as Bei Bei shook him tremendously. He was stunned to find out that he had appeared in the projection. He had appeared in another projection above the ice peak. The bluish gold figure that he had fought earlier also appeared. Wasn't this the moment when he charged at that figure for the last time? Where are Qiuwa and Donga? They've stopped fighting, and they were suppressed by some kind of force. They must be very anxious because of me. In that light projection, the bluish gold figure was walking step by step towards him. There was a bright golden trident in his hand too. No. Wang Qiuwa and Wang Donga shouted at the same time. They both had a desperate look in their eyes. At this point, the projection paused, and the indifferent voice from earlier sounded once again. There's no conclusion from this duel between the two of you. Since this is the case, we'll use another method. Huro Yuao is on the brink of death right now. He'll survive as long as one of you is willing to sacrifice your life for his. However, you must remember that he might end up with the other person if he survives and you die. This means that you might grant your love rival her wish if you sacrifice your life to save him. The two of you only have 3 seconds to decide. 3. Huro Yuao couldn't help but shout in fury when he watched Antilia. Scoundrel. You can't do this. You can't do this. I'll die. Let me die instead. He struggled to break free from Bei Bei's grasp and crawled towards the projection in front of him. It was also at this point that it suddenly dissipated, turning into spots of light. A thick beam of light descended from the sky and landed not far away from him. Huro Yuao opened his eyes wide to see who was in it. He saw 2 figures in it. Yes, there were 2 figures. However, they weren't standing side by side. One person was carrying the other person. Wang Qiuwa was the one standing. Wang Donga was peacefully lying in her arms. Huro Yuao was stunned. At this moment, he had already focused his gaze. He opened his eyes wide and couldn't believe the scene in front of him. Following this, he struggled to use his hands to support his body and crawl towards Wang Qiuwa with all his strength. Donga, how are you? Donga. Everyone else stood quietly at the side. At this moment, they didn't know how to comfort Huro Yuao. Even though they could guess what had happened, they didn't want to believe it was the truth. Wang Qiuwa also appeared to be in a daze as she carried Wang Donga. Tears streamed down her cheeks and dripped onto Wang Donga's body. Finally, Huro Yuao crawled over in front of her. He tugged at her pants and wanted to get up to see Wang Donga. Wang Qiuwa squatted down and passed Wang Donga to Huro Yuao. Right now, Wang Donga wasn't breathing. However, her eyes were wide open. Even though she was already dead, Huro Yuao could still see the reluctance and yearning in her eyes. Donga. Huro Yuao peered into the sky and wailed tragically. His hysterical voice echoed loudly in the air. Tears flowed down his face. He had broken down completely now. What happened? What happened after the projection disappeared? There's no conclusion from this duel between the two of you. Since this is the case, we'll use another method. Huro Yuao is on the brink of death right now. He'll survive as long as one of you is willing to sacrifice your life for his. However, you must remember that he might end up with the other person if he survives and you die. This means that you might grant your love rival her wish if you sacrifice your life to save him. The two of you only have 3 seconds to decide. 3. Wang Qiuer was in a daze. She subconsciously looked at Wang Donga and was stunned. There was a pair of milky white hands that radiated fearlessness. There was a pair of eyes that yearned for life and love. There was a sorrow that carried a sense of reluctance. There was a natural stroke of decisiveness that gave no regard for anything else. There wasn't any hesitation. There was no delay or waiting. It was just for Hua Yuao, so that he could escape danger a second earlier. Wang Donga's pressed her milky white hands against her forehead, and a blinding golden light shone. Her radiant butterfly goddess wings instantly changed into countless spots of light before dissipating. She wasn't looking at the sky, but at Wang Qiuer. There was a look of pleading and exhortation in her eyes. There was also a strong look of reluctance. Donga. Wang Qiuer shouted, and she turned into a beam of flowing light before charging towards Wang Donga. She grabbed Donga before she collapsed to the ground. Wang Donga didn't hold back as she attempted suicide. At this moment, there was no longer any vibrancy in her eyes. Blood oozed out from her pores too. However, there was also a tinge of satisfaction in her eyes even though she was reluctant. I have won. Tears flowed uncontrollably from Wang Qiuer's eyes at this moment. You've won. Yes. You've won. Donga, don't die. You. Wang Donga smiled, but didn't shut her eyes. She looked into the sky instead, at the figure that had retracted his golden trident. She also looked at Hua Yuao, who still hadn't risen to his feet. The bluish gold figure holding the trident seemed to be staring back at her. The light from his body dimmed, and he silently vanished from the sky. Wang Donga was trying to look at Hua Yuao, even though she was slowly losing her life. However, she still couldn't bear to shut her eyes even as she was about to die. She still wanted to take a last look at Hua Yuao. I really want to be your wife. I really want to be with you every moment. I really want to bear our kids. I really want to love you forever. I really want to. The shiny beads of tears in her eyes also seemed to turn powdery blue as they streamed down Wang Donga's cheeks. Wang Qiuer was in a daze as she lifted Donga up. Her tears continuously fell onto Wang Donga's clothes. As she watched Wang Donga slowly lose her life, she knew that she had lost. You win. You love him more than me. You can be completely selfless for him. At that moment, I actually wished that you would die for him so that I could be with him. I don't feel maligned losing to you. However, why am I in so much pain? Donga, I should be the one who's dying. I've lost. I've really, completely lost this time. You died for him, and I can't bring myself to lie to him. I've lost, and you've won. He'll only love one person in his entire life. It'll never change. Boundless golden light descended from the sky and quickly engulfed them. In the next moment, the stars realigned, and time was distorted. She won. She used her life to tell me that she loves you more than me. She won. Wang Qiuer was smiling bitterly as she stood up. Her body trembled as she turned around and walked away step by step. She walked toward the boundless golden world. No one stopped her. No one could stop her. No one had expected that the person to perish in this yin-yang love querying valley would eventually be Wang Donga. Hua Yuao hugged Wang Donga's body tightly. He only felt that his heart had left with her. At this moment, the others were surrounding him. Bei Bei squatted down and softly clasped Hua Yuao's shoulder. However, no one was able to say any comforting words. Xiao Xiao and Zhang Nanan were already crying miserably. Donga's dead. Donga's actually dead. She's dead because she wanted Yuao to remain alive. Suddenly, Hua Yuao lifted his head and opened his eyes wide. He shouted, Donga isn't dead. Donga isn't dead. This is the yin-yang love querying valley. You can revive her, right? Hua Yuao looked into the sky. After this, he placed Wang Donga down beside him and crawled forward a bit before starting to kowtow. Please, revive Donga. I'm willing to exchange my life and spirit for hers. Please. He was crying his guts out at this moment. In just a few kowtows, Hua Yuao's forehead was already bruising and bleeding. Shu Sanqi wanted to go forward to pull him up, but he was stopped by Bei Bei. Bei Bei knew that this was the only way in Hua Yuao's eyes. The entire place suddenly lit up. Wang Qiuer was dragged back by an irresistible force. Different streaks of light illuminated everyone's bodies, sealing them all. At this point, the indifferent voice that everyone was afraid of echoed forth. Dai Huabin, have you realized what you truly want after going through so much? Dai Huabin was stunned. He lifted his head into the sky and replied, I just want to be with my Lulu. Nothing else matters. Juli's injuries left him grief-stricken. However, he felt that he was very fortunate as he looked at Hua Yuao and Wang Donga. At least Julu was still alive. You were drawn by beauty, but you managed to find yourself in the end. This shows that affection is important to you. You've passed your sincerity event around, and you'll be rewarded. Your reward will be a substitution of love. You can choose to move Julu's injuries to your own body to fully heal her. If you don't want to, you can choose to increase both yours and Julu's soul power by 5 ranks. After hearing the voice, Dai Huabin's eyes lit up. I choose to accept the substitution of love. Please begin. After hearing until here, even Hua Yuao lifted his head. He was surprised as he looked at Dai Huabin and Julu. Substitution of love. If there's such a thing, does it mean I can substitute my own life for Donga's? He suppressed his sorrow and hugged Wang Donga tightly as he watched Dai Huabin and Julu's bodies change. A streak of golden light flashed by and landed on their bodies. Something strange occurred instantly. Dai Huabin's right arm vanished like melting ice, while Julu's right arm was slowly growing out. She was also trembling slightly. Dai Huabin seemed to be in great pain, but he didn't even look at his right arm. He only grit his teeth and bore the pain. It wasn't just his right arm that was experiencing changes. His face was also experiencing changes. It was starting to rot. Dai Huabin lowered his head to look at Julu. Seeing that her injuries were slowly healing, the look in his eyes turned gentler even though he was perspiring from the intense pain. Suddenly, the golden lights that engulfed them became stronger before vanishing along with the two of them. Shu Sanqi, you were willing to give up your future as a soul master for love. It's very touching. You are also filled with kindness. You've passed your sincerity adventure round. I believe you've already obtained the best reward that you could possibly get. Shu Sanqi's gaze shifted away from Hua Yuao and Wang Donga. He nodded and said, yes, I've obtained the best reward. I'll treasure Nanan in the future. Zhang Nanan, you've also rid yourself of the trauma in your heart. You are gentle and kind, but you couldn't fulfill your filial duties because of what happened to you. But Shu Sanqi fulfilled them for you, and thus you've also passed. Compared to Shu Sanqi's complete awakening of his Swanwu, your reward will be less grand. Your soul power will be increased to rank 60. You can go and find a suitable soul ring now. A huge beam of golden light descended from the sky and engulfed them. Zhang Nanan also lit up with white halos. As the light flashed, the two of them disappeared. Rewards. They all passed, and are being rewarded. The sorrow in Hua Yuao's eyes slowly turned into hope. When will it be my turn? When will it be our turn? I don't want anything else but to revive Donga. Zhang Lesun, the voice said. Yes? Zhang Lesun lifted her head to peer into the sky. There was a confused look in her eyes. Love is never a punishment. However, you'll only hurt yourself if you indulge in a love without an outcome. You'll also receive the best reward possible, an opportunity to forget. Go and find your true love. A golden light flashed, and Zhang Lesun disappeared. Ningtian, Ningtian and Wu Feng were standing side by side right now. They lifted their heads to look into the sky, dying for love and walking away from the pain. The two of you have passed your sincerity adventure rounds. The reward that you are going to get is going to be quite heavy. Thus the two of you will share one reward. This reward will solve all your problems. Ningtian, you'll be a man from today onward. Go. Two beams of golden light shone at the same. Ningtian and Wu Feng were shocked as they looked at each other before they were taken away. Ningtian's familial pressure would be greatly alleviated if she were a man. In addition, the dilemma that she and Wu Feng faced in their relationship could also be resolved. After going through the 3 rounds, this was what she wanted to. Changing her gender was indeed the best way to solve the root of their problems. Bei Bei. If I'm going to get a reward, I want Xiaoya. Bei Bei said eagerly, you barely passed your sincerity adventure round. As your lover isn't around, this was also the reason why it was easier for you to pass. You've already received your reward. Remember, there are clues in everything you've seen. You'll have 3 opportunities to release the final blow to inquire of other people. Go. Before Bei could say anything, the golden light flashed, and he was dragged away and vanished. Everyone's situation was indeed different. At this point, the only people left were Yikeitu, Xiao Xiao, Hua Yuao, Wang Qiwa, and Wang Dongda. Hua Yuao pursed his lips tightly and felt his forehead swelling. There were even some bloodstains on his forehead. Considering how strong his body was, he must have cowed out strongly. The voice echoed again, but it didn't call Hua Yuao and Wang Dongda. Hikeitu, Xiao Xiao. Hikeitu and Xiao Xiao looked into the sky at the same time. Xiao Xiao was holding onto Hikeitu's arm, even though they knew that they weren't going to be punished. Donga's death still left them very tense. In this valley, they simply could not control their own destiny. Revealing your true feelings in the face of a crisis. Hikeitu, the release of the knot in your heart is your reward. Are you content? Hikeitu nodded forcefully and replied, I am. However, can you revive Donga? The voice seemed to ignore his request. Xiao Xiao, you used your love to untie the knot in your lover's heart. You deserve to be rewarded. Hikeitu, reveal your original appearance as Shuhi. This will be the greatest reward for Xiao Xiao. At the same time, Xiao Xiao's soul power will be increased to rank 60. A beam of golden light descended from the sky and engulfed both of their bodies. Hikeitu's appearance started to transform strangely. As his face contorted, he slowly turned into someone else. His skin was still tan, and he was still bald. However, he now had bushy eyebrows and huge eyes, and his overall look was very charming. This was the true Hikeitu. He was actually Shuhi, but he had used a secret technique of the previous dynasty to alter his appearance. Xiao Xiao was in a daze as she looked at Hikeitu. She was a little stunned, and asked, so you are actually this handsome? Hikeitu laughed bitterly. In fact, I'd already forgotten how I looked. Since the knot in my heart has been untied, then let me regain my own appearance. It no longer matters if I'm recognized. I'll be me, and I'm Shuhi. However, I'll always be your Hikeitu too. Xiao Xiao, I promise you that I won't hide anything from you from today on. Okay. Xiao Xiao nodded, but she was still a little worried when she looked at Hua Yuao and Wang Dongda. Among Shrek's 7 monsters, she shared the best relationship with Wang Dongda. They had grown up together, and had been together ever since they entered Shrek Academy. They had gone through too many things together. She wasn't any less sad than Hua Yuao over Wang Dongda's death. Right now, she was still very sorrowful. However, both she and Hikeitu vanished as golden lights flashed, before she managed to make any requests. At this point, only Hua Yuao, Wang Dongda, and Wang Qiwa were left in this place. Wang Qiwa was still a little stunned. Her eyes were lifeless, as if she had lost her spirit. Hua Yuao's forehead was bruised, and he was shuddering slightly. This was a testament to how tense he felt right now. Hua Yuao, Wang Dongda, Wang Qiwa, your 3 fates are closely interlinked. However, true love is always mutual, and can only be between 2 parties. That's why only 2 of you can get together eventually. Wang Dongda is already dead. Hua Yuao, are you willing to give your love to Wang Qiwa and love her properly in the future? No, I'm not. I only want Donga to be revived. Please revive Donga. No matter what you do to me, I hope you can revive Donga. Hua Yuao's voice was still trembling. He was sobbing heavily, and tears flowed down his face uncontrollably. The death of one person is a win-win situation for all 3 of you. At least one person will be spared the pain. Isn't this good? Don't be obstinate. The indifferent voice sounded a little angry. No, it's not good at all. I only want Donga, and I only love her. If you are unwilling to revive her, then kill me too. Even if I go to another world, I want to be with her. I don't ever want to separate from her. Hua Yuao hugged Wang Donga tightly and stuck his face close to hers. He already seemed to be very dazed as his tears fell onto Wang Dongda's cheeks. At this point, the fear and sorrow in his heart slowly diminished. If Wang Dongda was dead, he would choose to die. If Wang Dongda was alive, he would remain alive. While this yin-yang love querying valley could decide a person's fate, there wasn't much for him to be worried about after Wang Dongda's death, since his heart had already died with her. Wang Qiwa suddenly lifted her head and shouted, I'm the one who should be dead. Let me die in exchange for Donga's life. In this way, they can be together. I shouldn't have appeared in their lives. I affected them. Just let me die. Let me die. The indifferent voice went silent. It seemed to be thinking, or rather, hesitating. Hua Yuao lifted his head to look at Wang Qiwa. He took in a deep breath and shook his head slightly. He said, no, Qiwa, you didn't do anything wrong. You never did anything wrong at all. I was the one in the wrong. I hurt both you and Donga. Now that things have come to this stage, you must live well. Yin-yang love querying valley. Does it mean that we are all entitled to a reward since we've reached this stage? That's right. However, the dead person will not be rewarded. The yin-yang love querying valley answered. Hua Yuao nodded and said, all right, I shall not plead for you to revive Donga. Instead, I hope that you can make Qiwa forget me and everything that happened between the 3 of us. Can you do that? After that, let us leave this place. Forgetting everything might be a good thing at times. However, are you willing? Wang Qiwa. Wang Qiwa shook her head with strength and replied, no, I don't want to forget. I would rather bear this pain than forget this experience. This is the most painful yet unforgettable memory of my life. Whether I'm dead or alive, I want to preserve this memory. Don't take it away. There will never be happiness in a love triangle. All right, I'll grant both of your wishes, since this is the case. A beam of golden light descended from the sky and shone on Wang Qiwa's body first. In the next moment, she had already vanished. Following this, another beam of white light shone on Wang Dongda's body. Hua Yuao could clearly sense the warmth from this beam of white light. Wang Dongda sacrificed herself for love. Her utterly fearless spirit is commendable. I'll revive her. However, you must remember today's lesson and hold fast to your words. Hua Yuao. Otherwise, you'll face tougher tests in the future. You'll need to be even tougher than this. Do you understand? After hearing that the love querying valley was willing to revive Donga, Hua Yuao was suddenly full of energy. He started to become very excited and nodded his head desperately. His tears immediately stopped flowing. Death is sometimes not scary. The path that you're going to take is destined to be tough. Do your best. Wang Dongda's rigid body slowly became softer. Her complexion slowly regained its color too, and her chest also started to rise and fall. Her life energy was restored under the nourishment of that beam of white light. Hua Yuao only felt that he had never felt so weak before. Wang Dongda's death to her resurrection tortured him more than the 3 tests he had to go through earlier. Seeing that Wang Dongda was slowly recovering, he hugged her body as if he were holding a treasure. He was choking with his sobs. After a brief moment, Wang Dongda's breathing became normal again, and her face regained its rosy color. Alive, my Donga is alive. Hua Yuao finally smiled. At this moment, he only felt that Wang Dongda was the most beautiful thing in this world. The indifferent voice suddenly sighed. At this moment, it seemed to become slightly more emotional. Hua Yuao had been in a very tense state for a long time. After hearing this sigh, he reacted quickly and blurted out, what's wrong? There's a problem with Wang Dongda's resurrection. The voice sounded even more helpless. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.